Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Floral Observations. My name is Matt.
And I'm Garrett.
And we are here today to talk about Netflix's new show, The Big Flower Fight. We're on episode 6. I can't believe it, we're already made it to episode 6. So Garrett, tell us what's going to happen today.
Episode 6, it's the quarterfinal, folks, and we are doing sea creatures. We've went through a lot of florals, we went through a lot of random topics. This is the first topic where the designers didn't really choose what they were gonna do. Yes, they're sea creatures, but they had bottles with the actual name of the animals, and the designers had to launch at these bottles. Whatever bottle you got is what you had to do. And I am here for it. I love the energy. The guest judge was Sarah Eberly, who is a multi-Chelsea Flower Garden Show landscape artist. She's won everything. The woman's doing it. She made a gorgeous starfish out of all mixed materials. The task prompt had to be 10 feet across, had to be a marriage between coastal plants, which is so specific, such a very finite type of plant, and discarded man-made waste, which is plastics, shoes,
Trash.
surfboards, things that y'all are throwing in the ocean, and it's just destroying everything. They were given a metal pole for a base to balance these designs on because they had to be elevated. They could not be on the ground. And the pole was literally made of like toothpicks and spit and bubble gum. I don't know what was the thought behind that. And then they had 15 hours to create, and the guest judge wanted it to be an emphasis on mixed media texture. We've had color before, we've had judges like really focus on the edibility of edible thrones, but it is a mixed media texture, and you know, Matt, I love me some mixed media. I love me some texture. Both of us thrive off of all those words. That is what we do.
That is my fantasy. I do. That is. Oh, you're gonna mix some medias? Okay, I'm here for it.
So they all dove in. They all got different sea creatures, and let's dive into it and see how they handled it. The first up, we have Ralph and Jim, and they got fish. Here's my thought. You only got the quarterfinals. You got so many limited teams. You could have given them more exact, more interesting things, but
Angelfish, blowfish, any type of fish besides just
a shark,
fish.
Right? They were not given forms, so they had to build their form off of this like toothpick pole, and they did fish. I like elements of their design, while at other times I didn't. I am actually gonna bloom this. I'm gonna soft bloom it. They hit the prompt. It incorporates a fish being trapped in a net trying to swim out. The face is really well accomplished. They have struggled with doing the faces of animals already, and they actually really did a good job with the eyeball. I get fish. It's not just a fish base with touches of recycled. The fins are actually made out of old oars and surfboards and details of recycled
little
products.
Flippers too, which is really cute.
The bottom is really well accomplished too, where it's not kind of overtaking the fish. The emphasis is not really on the bottom of the design, but it gets it done. There's stones, the plant choice is really nice. I like the colors that they used. I think there could have been a little bit more execution and thoughtfulness in the scales of how they use the hydrangeas and such. But this to me is a bloom. They hit every point that they're asking for. There's texture, there's beautiful color. I understand their story by just walking up to it. And it's a fish. They were not asked to do a specific fish, but it's a fish. So tell me, what you got?
This is a bloom for me too. I think that they were successful. I think that there were things that I would have liked to have seen, but you know, they are on a limited time and they are on a lot of pressure, so it is what it is. But overall, I think the design is great. I think it's successful the way that they kind of elevated it above this bottom field of grasses, and you know, it looks like there may even be some equisetum, some horsetail in there. I'm not exactly sure what's all in there. It's kind of a grainy picture, but it almost looks like they're swimming. You know, it's swimming through that. I get the whole idea of half of it being trapped with trash. I do wish that they would have carried whatever that moss or the trachelium looking thing that's on the front of the fish. I wish that could have been carried back a little bit further into the tail end of whatever that netting is.
I believe there's something underneath that we're not seeing in the picture. Underneath that like turquoise, there is plant material there. We just can't see it in this
It doesn't come off well. It doesn't come off well. It looks like it also doesn't have the same volume as the rest of the fish. So I don't know. To me, that part of it, I think is a little lost in translation. I think there's almost too much trash on the tail end covering it, but I get what they were trying to do, and the challenge was to incorporate the trash. But I think this was very successful. I think the shape is great. Everything else you said, and this is a bloom for me.
Yeah. Our next team, I thought did really well. They were the winners, and that was Andrew and Ryan, and they got the seahorse. Everybody wanted the seahorse except for Sarah. She wanted a jellyfish, which I don't know why they didn't do a jellyfish, but with Andrew and Ryan, they got seahorse. They get it. They did it. They made elements that could be, if you got a breeze in it, it would move just like it was in the ocean. Yeah. I'll let you start with this one because I got thoughts. I got observations.
I got thoughts. I got observations too. I like this one overall. I'm gonna say this is a bloom. I think it's successful. I love what they did. This is, it's not necessarily a super literal translation of the seahorse, which is I think that's a successful route to go in a challenge like this. I think it's really cute. I love this like little decoration, like partition that they put around it almost. I think it's very cute.
It's trying to swim out of the trash. It's trying to escape the trash.
Its little fins that are made out of bits of sail. I think the shape that they cut those into is super effective. It really gives me, it really completes the vibe, especially with that, like the blue yarny trash and all that. It's a bloom for me. There's a lot of things I like about this.
To me, it's a soft bloom. It's nothing, it does not blow my mind in the sense of a completed design. I don't think they married the trash, and I don't, like the man-made materials, it was a task to marry them, and I don't think they really did. They have a beautiful plantscape design that has some detailing and then a trash design that it sits in. That's an issue I have. And then also, we start to see them use a lot of moss here. The nose is like all moss. While there's plants in the body, there's still a lot of moss. And it just, I know that they're on a time crunch, and I know that there is so much that you can do, but like there's so much going on the bottom with like kind of the same material in different colors that the nose I feel like could have had a little bit more detail or color. It's just a soft bloom. It does what it needs to do. It is beautiful. It was the winner, but it's just a seahorse. There's not that wow factor to me other than the fins on the back. They did a great job, but design-wise, give me some plants.
And then our next team is
they're main competitor. Like they're main competitor. Oh, that was a soft bloom.
Soft bloom, that's right.
So we got a bloom.
Your next competitor is Jan and Henk, and they did a mother and baby turtle. And these shady ladies, not only did they do the mother and baby turtle,
shady.
They did every other one of the animals, the sea creatures that the other contestants were doing. They hung one of those.
And they did them very well.
Oh my God, they did them so well. Like, they did them so well. To see them like out of like sponges and whatever they were cutting, it was really
But they did not take away from the turtles. That was the thing. They accented it.
You, Henk,
but they didn't. They did it in such a good way that it accented and it was part of the design, but it didn't take away from turtles. And they perfectly married plant with plastic. This is a bloom. This is just a bloom. Like the way that they were able to make fins that actually look like they flow into a body. They created a turtle shell that incorporated not just grasses that look like they could be like seagrasses on a turtle growing, but they have the recycled materials.
And the
netting. Faces are really well done.
That pattern.
Absolutely. And they also did this beautiful succulent on the body of the baby turtle. So like it has all the little body parts, but underneath the netting, when you get closer, is this light color and texture underneath the netting. So you have the interaction of texture and texture. And the judge wanted mixed media texture. They did not just give you pieces like we saw in the winning piece where it was like, here's some and then here's some. Every single thing marries into each other. The judges did make a comment about too much is too much, but you gave them a challenge of sea animals trapped in trash. They made a coral reef with trash, but all of it looked like it was moving in the same ocean current, all interacting together. Shabloom for me on this one, so good.
They did such good too. Like with they took like manzanita and dried willow branches and stuff like that, and they spray painted them in beautiful tie-dye colors, fluorescent tie-dyes. It was so successful. This is a show balloon for me too. I loved it. Absolutely. I loved the fact that they made all the shadiness of it all. I love that too. I mean,
they brought in like a fun competition into it. It wasn't like meant in a very aggressive, mean way. It was just to be silly and fun. Yeah, it was just friendly. Unfortunately, our next ones, we go from high down to low, just like the last episode. Andi and Helen, they were eliminated with their grumpy crab. It fell off of that ridiculous pole that they were given. The welding point actually bent and snapped. To me, it is not a trap like we've discussed before. If you're giving a mechanic and you're requiring the mechanic to hold them, and you know that it has to hold the weight, with something like this, a crab is wide and it is heavier. The seahorse has an equal point down the middle. The equal point of a crab has to be long. It can't just be like splayed out. They didn't give them a fair advantage with things like this. And we'll see this also in the next piece we talk about. But they had grumpy crab. They had a story behind it, which a lot of people didn't. With the grumpy crab, this was an actual crab that they had seen on a vacation. And it was mean no matter what they tried to do to it. To me, I'm just going at the design. They did the design. They made a crab, and I thought they executed it well. I love the back of it. The legs fade away, and it's more about the claws and the body. Could there be more detail? Yeah, I think this, but to me, this is soft bloom. Really love the sedums in the back. The use of grass is what really set me over, with it draping over like seaweed on its head. It looks grumpy. The claws I really appreciate because they also are distinct. When you have a crab, they are distinct, but they still blend in with the body. So I give this a soft bloom. Yes, it's not suspended, but I don't think fully it was a fair way of approaching it with this competitor. So,
girl, I am in 100% agreement. I love Helen and Andi too. They're one of my favorite teams on this show, and so I was super sad to see them go. But I like when it was up and suspended. I thought it was so cute, and it would have been so successful standing there like wow. Watching your path, running back and forth, being a little crab. I thought it was really cute. It broke my heart when I saw it fall. I loved to see the camaraderie of the other teams rush to their, rush to their aid.
Yeah. And it's heavy. It's like 500 pounds, and all of them were still trying to hold it. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
I do think that once they realized that it was starting to go, I think they tried too long to try to save it with like adding more supports and all that, when they could have realized at that point, like, okay, let's change this up, because that was a little bit of a time suck. But overall, like, I see where they were going for it. I'm gonna give them a soft bloom as well, because I can't give them a prune on this.
The design is not bad. That's the thing. It's not a bad design.
Even though it wasn't successful in what they wanted and they were eliminated, I can't give this, because I think it's cute. I do. I think it's cute. So
they accomplished the design. Also, when was the last time you saw a crab flying through the water? They are bottom feeders. They're on the bottom. That again is an unfair advantage of the animal that they were given. That's just an observation and opinion. So our next ones, I cannot handle. I don't know what happened. It's Sarah and Jordan. They got octopus. Girl, if you was trying to get jellyfish, you should have been happy to get octopus. But again, in my thought process, this was a creature 10 times harder than any of the other creatures given because of the scale. So they were very unfairly treated. I thought the usage of how they did a lot of things was very smart. Do I think that they needed more? Yes. But I have to prune it because it just wasn't a finished design. Love the idea of the succulents as like the suckers, but then add woven grass, add some kind of detail to the outsides of recycled product. They could have went a little bit more recycled than plant, and I would have been fine, and add some kind of thing on the outside of the legs. I saw the struggle, saw the time management issues. I think this goes back to like the lemur tail. They kind of worried about so many things at one time that their lemur missed their tail. Here, they were so worried about, and so I think they got into their own heads about the scale of it and the size of it. They didn't try to finesse and make one thing so wow. Kind of like the crab legs They weren't anything special, but the body was really well done. They didn't do that here. And it shows that they didn't focus on a specific thing. So
that's the thing. I mean, this was the short straw on this for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, just the fact that they're making anything that you have to do has to have 8 legs to begin with, and the legs are the biggest part of the octopus, and you have to have the head part of the octopus has to be big enough that it reads an octopus. Like, just everything about it is set up in kind of against the person, kind of to have.
And not in a good reality TV way. It was just like, oh, we just pick random animals. There's so many other sea creatures that are not. Like jellyfish literally only has like 3 legs on it, and it can also flow
and they can
down.
just dangle. They don't need to have the shape where they taper.
An octopus is a very specific
the suckers.
thing. Yeah.
It's. I want to give them a bloom because I do think that they did a good job for what they, for the time and did. But I can't. I'm sorry, girls. I can't. It's gonna be a.
They know that it's not cute, and I know it's not cute. Like she ain't a bloom. We're getting to the end, folks. This was the quarterfinals.
It gets tough. I mean, and it gets tough. They're under time constraints. They're under product constraints. It is what it is. But yeah, that
judge they do have some very good judges sometimes. And Sarah Eberly this is her thing. This is what she does. She was not playing games. Did I agree with her on everything in a design aspect? No. But she was very mixed media texture. If you're not going to play the game, then don't play the game. Bloom of the week. Who's your bloom of the week?
I think my bloom of the week goes to Jan and HENCK with their mother and baby turtle. I thought they were so cute.
They hit the prompt. They went through the prompt and went check, 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 check. They added humor and didn't make it try to be just a standalone thing. They, again, made it an experience. They're one of the few that understands how people need to interact with your design. Bloom of the week.
And I love the shady ladiness of having everyone else's sea creatures somewhere within their design.
Where other teams started to get kind of a little mean competitive that we saw starting this episode and last episode, they played off that in a fun way where the other teams are kind of getting a little competitive. It is a competition. That's the thing. Only one team can win.
Yeah.
So what is one thing that you would have loved to have changed in this episode or seen more of, or you loved?
I would have liked to have seen a different array of sea creatures. This wasn't my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. This was not my favorite episode. I think that the idea. I totally understand the idea that our oceans are polluted. They're extremely polluted, and we all need to be doing a better job of taking care of that. There's just something with sea creatures and plants and the trash, and it just wasn't my favorite challenge. And I think the animals or the sea creatures that they chose were not necessarily the greatest. We could have seen a jellyfish instead of an octopus. We could have seen, an actual, an angelfish or something, like a pufferfish or something like that.
Something with more detail.
Generic fish. Yeah. We could have seen a shark instead of a crab. We could have seen a dolphin. Would have been really cool.
I think the crab would have worked if it wasn't required to be up in the air. I thought, yes, you're in the ocean, but you cannot be giving people animals or creatures that they're not just swimming around. They can, but that's not I don't associate a crab.
I mean, if we're talking sea creatures, where's Nessie? Give me Nessie for all that.
Oh, that would have been fun. Yeah,
that would have been fun too. You could create something kind of sneaky. But then again, maybe that's something that's too big. But
one thing I think they did do well was the mixed media textures, using both pieces in a way that it can continue on. I really like how they had that challenge. Here's a big pile of trash. How can you use it to make a design that's gonna last, that can live on, and is beautiful? I don't think octopuses are that beautiful, but I really like how they approached it with the coastal plant specific and the discarded man-made waste. So, bravo, bloom of the week again. HENCK and Jan. They are the team to beat to me. I think they're great. They come at it not just as people that do event design and design. They want you to just experience and love flowers and enjoy flowers. And that's all they create. They're only competing against themselves, and it's great.
You can see the passion on everything they have. I mean, they wear it. So.
All right, so Where can we find you on the internet, Mr. Matthew?
You can find me on the internet at Coach Blind Florals on Instagram, or you can hop on over to www.coachblindflorals.com. There we also have our live streams that we do every Friday, Floral Friday tab. You can catch up every week of what we do. We have had a couple of lives with some contestants from this very show. So if you want to see more from them too, you can hop on there and see those. So that's where you'll find me. Garrett, where can I find you?
I'm Floral.today all over the internet. We'll have all our links below. Make sure to leave a comment of what your favorite design was, what creatures you would have loved to have seen, what you loved, what you hated, what your comments and thoughts were.
Do you completely disagree with us? I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, go right ahead. Give us your floral observations. And we're going to be moving into the semifinal, folks. So our next episode, it's coming down to green giants, and it gets aggressive. So join us next week on Monday when we talk about green giants and we move into the semifinals and see who is up for the final of the big flower fight. We will catch you all next week on Monday. We love you. Bye, floral friends.
Bye.